So, hello again. My name is Trinity Malone, and I have a story time today. So, let me just tell you about my experience in the workforce. I went to my workplace today, and I technically was fired. Not technically fired, but I was unemployed. So let me just tell you a little bit about what happened. And it wasn't really my fault. So, a few weeks ago, I'm a student. I'm going to school for pharmacy. And I was to text my manager on May 19th about my hours. And I did, as agreed on. But she was like, when is the earliest you can work? And I said, May 26th, Memorial Day. And so she said, okay, great. And I said, thanks. And I was into that conversation. Let me get my phone. I'm trying out my old camera. I got a new battery for it today. But anyways, I was gonna pull up our little text messages. I'm not too happy. I figured this is what would happen, but it's not fair, It's not right, it just didn't go well. So, we do like an online training at where I worked, and I had a lot of them to do, and you can't work without doing those trainings. So anyways, then on June 1st, on Sunday, and I usually, I don't work on Sundays, I don't do anything job-wise Sundays, I don't reply to any business things on Sundays, and, because of religious things, so, I thought I heard somebody call my name. Anyways, so, I couldn't get into my work account from my phone, and I was like, hey, I was looking for my schedule, and I was like, my account's been disabled. And then she's like, did you come in on the 26th to do the training? And I was like, I did not. I said, I checked my, my schedule, and the soonest date I was scheduled to work was June 10th, which is today. And then the next day on Monday at 10:30 in the morning, she said, you eventually fall out of the system after not working for so long, and coming in on the date we agreed on would have kept you in the system. And I said, and I didn't realize you meant for me to come in that day. That's miscommunication on my part. And I apologize. I checked the scheduling app multiple times a day, 4 days, and I said I usually go based off of that or taking someone's shift. So, you're not supposed to come into work without being scheduled, right? Especially where I work, I'm a pharmacy technician. This was our whole conversation on May 21st. What's the soonest you can come into work? The date. I said, right now, May 26th. That would be great so you can get caught up. Yes, ma'am. I'm sure I have plenty of e-learnings to do when I get back. Okay, thank you. And I said, you're welcome. Where did we agree? Where did we agree upon coming back to work? And she didn't schedule me, so I can't come into work. So today was the earliest date she scheduled me. And so I went in this morning at 10, and they changed all the codes, of course, because I've been out of work for a month. Even though they've never been changed, as long as I've worked there. And I was like, I talked to my assistant manager, because he was in the pharmacy part, and I said, and I brought my lunch, because, I figured I would probably not have a job when I got there, but, just in case. But I'm kind of peeved about it. And I said, my account's disabled, and it's my main work account. I said, it's disabled. And he went up front, made a few phone calls, and he was very apologetic and very, very, very nice about it. And I said, he was like, when your account's disabled, you're no longer employed. And so he's like, you're gonna have to be rehired, and they have no hiring positions on their website, for the store I worked at. And so I'm trying to apply at multiple different places, and it took me months. I started applying in July of last year and didn't get a job until October. And I applied at every chain pharmacy location in my area and got hired at one. and it was the longest distance away. I loved where I worked. I loved the people. I still love the people. I follow some of them on social media. They're all super nice, but the way it was handled was not good. I just felt like talking to her was really hard, and the communication wasn't enough. I mean, what do you do in that position? So I ended up having to call HR today about it, and I had to open a case. And I don't want to make anybody lose their job, because it's hard enough for me. I'm a student paying for my own school. I don't have financial aid, and I don't want anybody else that's providing for their family to have to lose their job. So I mean, what do you do in that? What do you do? I mean, seriously, what do you do in that predicament? But anyways, I almost cried today. Didn't cry. Just praying about it, praying for a job to open. Maybe I can get a better job. Who knows? But it was a long distance from my home to travel to the place where I worked. And I didn't work often because I'm a student and I've got other little side things that I do that I make just a little bit of money off of. But anyways, I got my camera to work. It's a Nikon Coolpix from 2013. My great uncle got it for me when I was 8. I think I was 8 in 2013. But yeah, I finally got it to work. I got a new battery for it, and that is what I'm filming on right now. So I will have to look at what the sound quality sounds like on it. I just don't have enough storage space on my phone to continue doing a whole bunch of videos on my phone. I'll have to edit them on there. But as far as filming them on them, I can't be in the middle of a video and just it die or something, So I've got the camera now, and I hope it's not dead yet because I can't see the back of it. But yeah, it's a old digital camera, so we'll see how it works. Thank you for listening to my sob story today. It's the day after the garden tour I did. But yeah, I was supposed to go back to work today, and now I'm unemployed. I'm actually self-employed, but I'm unemployed, as far as a public job. So, if you have any good recommendations, about a workplace that, well, I'm not gonna give out, exactly where I live, but, yeah. Just, what would you do in that position? I don't know. I still love the people, and, they're still nice. It's just, I feel like my manager that hired me that I was texting didn't really do enough for her employees in that, or me in that manner. I'm not trying to be petty. It's just, the way it handled was not, I'm trying to think of the word, and I can't think of the word. You ever do that? You try to think of a word and you can't think. It wasn't really it wasn't handled the way it should have been. It wasn't the appropriate way to handle things. But anyway, thank you for watching. Again, this channel is random things that happen in my life. Totally relatable day-to-day life things. And I will see you next time. Thank you.